guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and I'm here with a video I'm so excited for that I know not a lot of people are gonna watch because it's such like a niche video idea, because I'm currently obsessed with Bridgerton the musical. I have on my Bridgerton sweatshirt from Literary Enchantments. Use my code JESS10 if you want to save on your own. It is just all their names listed in order all the way down to Hyacinth, and I love it. I got it in black, and I'm a rep for them, so they did send this to me for free, but I wanted to wear it for this video because I got the idea of pairing a historical romance book with each Bridgerton musical song that is released. Now, as of today, there are 9 released songs. I've been following Emily and Abigail on their Instagrams and stalking their progress. They're writing the opening number, and it sounds fantastic, and I'm obsessed. My favorite song right now is Sienna's. I love it. I love like more poppy musicals, and like I love the Hamilton songs. The Hamilton songs that I'm obsessed with are Satisfied and the Schuyler Sisters, and then I do love the Brandy Cinderella. I just rewatched that with my sister this past week, and just Mamma Mia kind of stuff. Like, that's my kind of music. So the fact that the songs they're doing are more like poppy musical, obsessed. Oceans Away and Burn For You have been stuck in my head pretty much this entire last week, and I keep on rewatching all of the songs. I do love them all. Balancing the Scales makes me want to cry. So I have all 9 songs written down here and 9 historical romances I've paired with them. So if you like one of the songs or you like the tropes of the song, you'll like these books. So I'll go ahead and get to them, and I'll link the 2 down below who are putting this together. It's like going places. Like BBC has interviewed them, Playbill interviewed them. If this becomes a musical, my sister and I already said we're actually gonna spend the money and go see it, because not a lot comes to the Ohio Theater. A lot does, but like if it's gonna be like on Broadway, we're gonna take a girls trip and go because we have to. So I'm excited. So I have put together books with these songs, so I'll get to them. The first one is the first song she came out with, which is Oceans Away from Daphne's perspective. Simon's is a little later in this list, and so for this one, we all know it's a song where they feel like they're oceans away from each other. They're in the same room, but you're an ocean away, and I love it so much. So the book I've picked for this is a marriage in trouble book, because that's like a relationship in trouble, and so, well, it is a marriage in trouble because they get married. This one I chose is Day of the Duchess by Sarah McLean. This is book 3 in the series. I've only read this book though, so it's fine reading it as a standalone. I haven't gone back and read the first 2, but they are having a rocky relationship, and there's a reason why, and he ends up inviting her to his estate to help him choose a new bride. And so like women are there competing to be a new bride, but he has absolutely zero intention of marrying any of them. He has invited her back to win her back. So there's these women there, and he's really trying to woo his wife to get her to forgive him for what he did. So there's really adorable scenes in here. They are just not in a place where they have a healthy relationship, and they have to get back to that place, and so that's why I chose this one. I feel like it is a very good song for a marriage in trouble romance, or just a relationship in trouble. I haven't read too many marriage in trouble historical romances. I really want to read a lot more, so if you have any recommendations for me, leave them down below. I did have another one that I could have put for this, but I put it as a different one, so I put it for Simon's actually perspective, because yeah, because it works, but that's this one. The next one is Burn For You, which has been stuck in my head so much. I love seeing people's renditions of it. I'm not on TikTok. I know if I get on TikTok, I'll become too addicted and not stopping on my phone, so I'm not on TikTok. I refuse to get on there, not because I think I'm better than it, but because I don't want the addiction. And so I just follow everything that's happening on Twitter and Instagram. But this one, there are so many people who've done TikTok duets with Abigail, and it sounds amazing. And so this one is just 2 people who are fighting kind of, and they just like can't fight their attraction. So for this one, I chose Night Song by Beverly Jenkins, because there is a trigger warning in here for lynching, racism, loss of a loved one, especially in the prologue immediately. Kara loses a beloved family member because these Union soldiers come in and don't believe he actually owns the property because he's black, and they lynch him in front of her, and she doesn't trust Union soldiers. So now it's in the current day where she's a teacher, and Chase is a Union soldier, and she's like, I don't trust them. And then things happen in their relationship, and there is a marriage of convenience. I won't say when or how, and she's mad about it, and then they just have insane chemistry though, and she's obsessed with his mustache, and she called it his rakish mustache at one point, and there's just so much chemistry between them, but she doesn't want to like him. And then there's that marriage of convenience, and she's kind of mad, and it goes from there. And it's so good. I really enjoy this one, but I really got that burn for you kind of energy from this book. Then we have Penelope's song, and I love Penelope. She's one of my favorite characters, how she's pining after Colin, and especially in the show it makes it so much worse because Marina's there, and that didn't happen in the books. But the Bridgerton musical is based off the show. I don't believe either of them read the books, and they just did it because they watched the show and loved it. And so for this one, I'm choosing The Wicked Wallflower by Maya Rodale. She is a wallflower in here, and she actually is in a relationship with someone, but she can't marry him because he needs to marry someone with money, and she has no money. And so she's just like, I don't know what to do. And they went to this like academy for women to like learn to be good wives, and everyone who's attended that academy has gotten married. So her and her friends, who are all wallflowers, I think there's 3 of them, they are like, we have to find husbands to go to this like party that the academy throws, or else we're gonna be like the people who don't get married, and it's just gonna be so embarrassing, and we have to do it. And so they actually end up writing an announcement that our main character is married to the Duke, and they like, she doesn't want to submit it, turn it in. She's like, no, that's a dumb idea, like don't do it. But someone ends up finding it and sending it in. And so the Duke needs money because he's an inventor, and he wants money for his invention, but he's not really taken seriously in society. He's a rake, a playboy, and so he's like, sure, we'll pretend to be engaged. And he needs to bring her home to a family member's estate to compete to be written into the family member's will, and she does it every year. So whoever's like won last is actually gonna like get all of her money. And so our main character agrees, because if she gets the money and they win, she can then like break off their engagement and go marry the guy that she was with before. But the entire time she's with the Duke, she's like, there's no way someone as gorgeous and wealthy and well known as him would ever like someone like me. And so even when they have their moments together, she's completely doubting herself. She's like, I'm just a plain wallflower, no one would ever like me. And so that theme of Penelope's kind of, not insecurities, but just feeling like she's never gonna be good enough for someone, definitely falls into our main character's character in The Wicked Wallflower, and it's really good. It's like kind of cheating, but not really, because like, is she really gonna be with this guy? Was it ever really serious? So I didn't really see it as cheating, and I didn't mind it, but I really liked this book and recommend it for a Penelope song. The next one is the one that's always stuck in my head, which is Oceans Away, with Simon's perspective too. It's so good, and I love where they can't drink champagne without seeing each other's face, and it's so good. And so for this one, I chose a second chance romance, and I chose The Duke's Perfect Wife by Jennifer Ashley. This is actually between Hart. Hart is the 4th brother in the series. This is the 4th book. You should read them in order. I absolutely loved every single one of them and could put all of them on this list with different songs, but I just chose Hart. I almost chose him for balancing the scales because he is the Duke. He's the oldest. He's taking care of all of his siblings. He takes care of the estate. He takes care of everything. And so he had a fiance, and they broke up for a certain reason, and now she's back. And there are, in this one, I always forget which one it is. It's in this one where there's scandalous nude photographs of Hart going around, and someone sent them to his ex-fiance. And so she showed up and is going to try to help him figure out who has these and like help him, and they end up falling back in love in the process. The other one that's a second chance romance is Lady Isabella's Scandalous Marriage, which is also a marriage in trouble, and they learn to fall in love again and like reconcile their differences. And so if you like that kind of angstiness, I would definitely recommend this one and Lady Isabella's, but then you have to read Ian first. Ian Mackenzie's book is my absolute favorite. It's book 1. So amazing. This entire series, I loved every single one of the first 4 books, because the first 4 books, the original 4 with the 4 brothers. So yes, this one really good. Hart's just like very brooding and doesn't want to give into his emotions, just like Simon. So I would recommend this one for Oceans Away. Next one is the really fun one too, and that is Eloise's song with If I Were a Man. And for this one, I actually chose a book with a non-binary lead. The author refers to the main character as she, so that's what I'm going to do, and it is Charity, but Charity actually goes by Robin in the book when she's a man, so I will go ahead and refer to the main character as Robin, and that is Unmasked by the Marquess by Cat Sebastian. She's been living the past 7 years as a man because she worked for a family and the son was about to pass away, and he would have inherited everything, and so if he's gone, all the money goes to someone else, and he had a younger sister, and for her to be supported, the family to be supported, Robin actually takes his place. So she's been living as Robert something for the past 7 years, and she meets Alistair because she says, hey, your father was my sister's godfather, and I want your help bringing out my sister into society. It's sister. It's not really her sister, but it is her character's persona's sister. And Alistair's like, really? That's super weird, but okay. And then he obviously figures out the truth. But Robin really wants to help her friend, who slash sister, get into society and marry well. And so, because that's what she's been working for her whole life, but she's been able to go to school, she drinks, she wears pants, and she loves living life as a man. She identifies more as a man. Very, very interesting, really good romance. There's so much passion and chemistry between them, and I really loved it. I think this is great for Eloise's song. The next one is kind of 2 in 1, but it's about the duel. So we have friend turned foe, and I love, love, love Daphne's perspective in this, where she's like, don't let the men handle it, like stop saying that, I need to know where they are. But this one's friend turned foe. It's the duel song between Simon and Anthony, and I have a duel book by Julia Quinn. When I first read The Duke and I was like, I don't think I've really read a lot of historical romances with a duel in them, but there's a lot out there, and this one is A Night Like This by Julia Quinn. It's book 2 in the series. You should read this in order. Almost Like Heaven is fantastic, so do read that one, which is book 1. This one, Daniel's our main character, and his sister had book 1, and he has been gone for 3 years because of a duel. He was in a duel with a friend. They were drunk, they made accusations, and so they're like, don't ruin my reputation, I'm gonna duel you, and I'm like, men are dumb. And so they have their duel, and Daniel gets shot in the arm because the guy ends up shooting wide, and he didn't even mean to hit him, but they're both like drunk and can't shoot to save their lives. And so the guy ends up hitting him in the shoulder, and so Daniel gets mad. He's like, you hit me. And so he goes to aim wide too, slips while he's doing it because he's drunk, and ends up hitting an artery in his leg and really severely wounding the other man. So the other man's dad like drives him out of the country, and he's like, I will kill you if I see you ever again. So Daniel's like fearful of his life, but him and this other guy were really good friends. And so Daniel gets word from the friend who's like he hit that his dad won't do anything anymore, so he comes back, but he's super terrified that he's gonna get killed every corner, and he falls for a governess of his cousins, and it's a really sweet romance, and he's really into her, and there's someone actually trying to kill them, and they don't know though, because the governess actually has a past where someone's trying to kill her and someone's trying to kill Daniel, and so he doesn't know who it is, and he's like terrified that he's still being hunted down, and he can't really decide if he wants to be friends with this guy again or not, like if he's truly forgiven him. So if you like the duel aspect, you'll love this book. Then we have Sienna. This is my favorite song. It's so good, and Sienna's obviously putting Anthony in his place, and she's like, we're cutting this off, like, no. I love the ending of this song. And so in this one, it's his mistress, right? And so she's not good enough in society for him. In this one, I am going with 11 scandals to start to break a duke's heart, is I believe I only wrote down the first half because it's so long. This is the 3rd book in the Love by Number series, and in this one our heroine is from Italy, and her mother was very scandalous. She had sons, and she was a pretty prominent person in society. She was like from a well-known family, and then she ran off, and it was very scandalous, and so she ran off and then had our heroine, and our heroine has half brothers who are twins, and they had the first 2 books, and then she has her book, and she's trying to not be seen as scandalous in society, and she meets this duke, and at the beginning she's like hiding out in a carriage away from a guy who's too forward and too just being gross to her. She's like, I don't want to be with you, like stop it, kind of like Nigel in Duke and I. And it ends up being the Duke's carriage, and then like they end up having this like bantering hate to love romance, and she's like, well, I bet you can't resist me. And he though has a secret where he can't have any scandal in his life, and she's too scandalous, so she constantly feels like she's not good enough for him and hates that, so she puts him in his place a couple times, and I really like that. They do end up together in this, unlike Sienna and Anthony, but I got that vibe from our main character in the 11 Ways to Start book, like we did Sienna in this song, and I really enjoyed it, and I think you would too. She doesn't want to be known as her mother, so she doesn't want to be scandalous either, but she wants to feel like she's good enough for a man, so I liked it. And the last one is Balancing the Scales. Again and again. It's so good. I love this song, and it makes me want to cry every time, especially when she asks about Edmund, and then how she says there's emptiness in this emptying nest, and I'm just, it hits me every time. And then near the end where all the mothers come together to sing, so good. So for this one, there's not a lot of books I read where like the mothers are very prominent and good figures. A lot of times it's like the mother is awful and trying to marry off her daughter for money, or just because she has to marry her off, and we don't get a lot of families and a lot of historicals. A lot of times it's because like the dad's dead and like the guy's already the duke. Like we only have young dukes because like their parents dead and they took on the dukedom. So these are, I have a series for this one because the mother is in it in all of them, and she has her own storyline and she wants the best for her sons, and she's a little bit meddlesome. So in this one, I chose the Destiny series by Beverly Jenkins. My favorite is definitely book 2. This one's hilarious because she's a prostitute and Andrew's her customer, and she gets pregnant. Surprise pregnancy trope. I hate that trope, but I absolutely love this, and she shows up with her baby to Andrew's house, and Andrew's mother's there, and she's like, you are taking responsibility for this. And this one, she's a pirate, but in this one, is more of the meddlesome mom. She hires a maid for her son because he needs one, and she is like headstrong and doesn't take any crap from any men, and ends up putting him in his place a lot, and it's really fun, and they fall in love. And so the mother actually has her own romance through all of these because her husband is dead, and she, I believe, I don't remember if 2 of them or all 3 are stepsons. I think she had one of them biologically and the other 2 are stepsons, but she still sees them as her sons, takes care of them, and she is present throughout the whole thing, has her own romance tied in throughout the series. So I really loved her as a mother figure, trying to just figure out the best for her sons. And if you liked Balancing the Scales and Violet's character, you would like these books. And that is my Bridgerton song companion historical romance video. I don't even know what I'm going to call this, and I know this isn't going to get a lot of views. My other historical romance Bridgerton videos are very specific to Bridgerton fans and historical romance fans, which there aren't too many of us. There are a lot of us Bridgerton fans out there for Netflix, and I don't know how many of you have watched the musical being built and formed and growing, but I loved it, so I had to do this video. Let me know down below if you had any other recommendations for these songs, and let me know what your favorite song is, because right now it has to be Sienna's, and Oceans Away is also a favorite, but I could listen to them all day. That's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.